There's states, I guess, you can't even pierce like the hood or tattoo your face or stuff like that. And that's like, it's goddamn Nazi shit.
See how her brows are tattooed with their light?
It was a lot different than doing body art. First of all, the colors have been blended down to tertiary colors, like makeup colors that you buy in a store. So they do have to be retouched over time. Debbie's had her lips all colors over the years. If you make them too dark, then it's harder to change, but if you stay with clear colors, just using your basic color theory, you can alter the color. And because lips are tissue, they're not the same texture as skin, it takes a lot of effort to get all the little molecules connected to accumulate color. What I'm doing here is I'm shading them with a flat needle. This has 7 flat needles in it. Because we want this to look more undetectable and natural, the colors have been blended. So of course, the lighter you use, the more often you would retouch them. If we were using primary colors like tattoo artists do, of course you'd never need a retouch.
My name is Zulu. I am 40 years old. I am a tattooist. I specialize in spiritual markings that recreate people, markings that people use to show who they are. The decision to get my face tattooed was the greatest challenge I've ever faced in my whole existence. Certain events in life had led to this, and now I would not feel complete. I wouldn't even feel like me. I wouldn't even feel human if I didn't have this tattoo on my face. The name of the shop is Zulu Tattoo and Eclectic. My father worked in the prison system, so you can imagine what his view of tattoos were. All he saw were prisoners who were tattooed. I actually changed someone's life. They thought they were ugly, and now they think they're beautiful. That's the power that this has. It's more than people think. And of course, there's discrimination out in the world just because we look like this. But that's superficial to me because I don't have to deal with those type of people if I don't want. But yes, it would surprise you the inner workings of some discriminating factions, even within the body modification world. A guy with a heart, like the size of a postage stamp that says mom, is discriminated by a guy that has a full body piece who says, this is really tattooing. That guy, he doesn't really have anything.
I mean, a lot of people, I think, just prejudge just on appearance, you know what I mean? Which, I don't know, I think maybe I do too in some aspects.
Growing up, I was never really socially accepted. I wasn't one of the cool kids. I didn't fit in with everybody else, and that bothered me at first. You know, as a child, you want to fit in, but slowly I realized that my mind doesn't even work the same as most people, and on a base level, I don't tend to relate to the large body of the populace. And as I started to find ways to make myself look physically different and make it visually apparent that I wasn't the same as everybody else, the more it set in and I felt more like myself.
There are places where it's, you know, women grab their kids, people leave a restaurant because there's a group of us are gonna go eat. People will leave the restaurant.
Common misconception is just that it makes you dangerous or mean or dirty, and one of the bigger ones I think is on the job. It'll make you actually work worse, which I've never understood. You have your nose pierced, that's not gonna change how effectively you do your job, you're still the same human.
I started off as a piercer, and I got fired for getting my horns.
Oh, but man, I've been discriminated against, definitely. Just the way people look at you in any kind of way. I've had people like pull their, like walk into the mall and just give you that look like they're just disgusted with you, like you're the devil or something. And I've had kids like, oh my God, is that the devil?
I've been called the devil. I'm evil, that I will burn in hell. In my opinion, that's probably the worst thing anyone could say to me.
A lot of times, I guess, because of my shocking appearance, they considered that there were no social graces involved anymore. They could just look at me and say, "You crazy M&F and SOB."
The person that doesn't like you for your tattoos can't realize that your tattoos are the next step. Their spectrum is they started at 0. They went as far as weird yellow suit. That's the weirdest thing they've ever done. You went as far as tattoo my body yellow and blue. And they're like, they see you as something else instead of further down the spectrum. Your problem is you think the spectrum ends here when really it goes this far, and the guy who takes off a pinky is only this far down, and then there's somebody else that's gonna do something even weirder far out than that. And it's that same human drive to decorate, explore, experiment, and it's just some people are going further and some people are finding a comfort zone where they are.
When you walk through a mall and you have, neck tattoos and hand tattoos, and you're carrying around your kid, someone looks at you like you stole them. Name's Pat Blackstorm. I'm going to be very shortly 29 years old. I'm piercing for 4 years. I'm from Southern California originally. Up here in Santa Cruz, decided to make the move to see what the northern part of the state is like, and it's treated me really well. I've met a lot of really nice people up here. I've been completely fascinated with the art of tattooing since the age of I can't even think, 10, 13, just seeing them. I love that art in the skin. It's kind of funny, the reason that I became so interested in tattoos was because my father had tattoos. He had 3 of them, standard on your arms, biker tattoos, but I loved the way they looked growing up. Like, that was nice. And in fact, it's kind of funny, they paid for my first tattoos just because it was, growing older and saying, here's some money, you can get yourself a tattoo. I don't think they expected me to go, ape shit with it and start getting them on my hands and fingers and neck. Once it's pierced, we use just a quick switch of the needle and jewelry, one quick insertion. Most people, when they come in to get a piercing, even if they're pretty gung-ho, they'll do 2 nipples and a nose, a couple of earlobes, so you're getting 3, usually not more than 3 piercings at a time. When you have someone come in and lay down on a table and let you do 10 piercings, 50 piercings, 100 piercings, that reaches a totally different level. No one walks away with any of that jewelry. People lay down and are into the piercing for a totally different reason. They're in it for the experience rather than the aesthetics. Stuff like surface piercings isn't something that I think the average Joe is ready to take care of. It's a lot of stuff you have to really realize before you try to beat the odds.
My name is Bear. I'm a piercer at True Blue Tattoo and Piercing in Austin, Texas. I'm a Mexican-American. My earlobes are stretched to about 5.5 inches right now. I want them bigger. I want to stretch them bigger to see how far my ears will allow me to go. And if I get to that point, who knows? My ears will let me know, and my ears will allow me to keep stretching, stretching, and stretching. And hopefully to, where I'll be able to put this earlobe around my head, and then this earlobe around the others. So that way I've got a little cross of ears. Let's hope. No one should dictate to me what I can and cannot do to my body. What I'm gonna do is we will be adding more up the forearm as time goes on. I started getting my body tattooed black on one side, looking like a 50-50 bar, and tribal on the other. My face and my head, Maori inspired. Eyebrow piercings, nostril piercings. I need one more deep breath. Exhale real slow. Piercings through. Tie on this through, and there you go.
Hell yeah, dude. Straight up.
Like that?
Hell yeah.
I was given the opportunity to visit with and spend time with different cultures as a child. I am truly, truly blessed to be here and doing what I do. If it wasn't for Fakir and Jim Ward, Doug Malloy, all this probably would have not occurred as it is. They were the ones who developed the procedures, who said, yes, this can be pierced. No, that can't be pierced.
My name is Jim Ward. My main claim to fame was as founder of a business called Gauntlet, which I founded back in 1975 at the instigation of a friend of mine named Doug Malloy. In many ways, Doug was the father of the body piercing movement. Doug provided kind of the basic concepts and the basic procedures. I went on to perfect those techniques. My particular focus, and it was Doug's focus as well, was on body piercing as a form of sexual enhancement. With the Prince Albert, the way in which we did it, we took a Q-tip and put a little anesthetic ointment on it and inserted it down into the urethra, and then pierced through into the head of the Q-tip. And it's an extremely difficult thing to do. One day I was out driving and it was just like sort of a little light bulb went on. And I again went back to my workbench and I had some stainless steel tubing. And I cut off a length of it about 3 or 4 inches long, smoothed off the edges. And so I would insert the tube down into the urethra and pierce into the tube. And the needle just very easily went inside it. It became a standard technique. I think Gauntlet, to the primary extent, is responsible for all the popularity of almost all of the common body piercings. Particularly if you had a round ring and you were trying to follow that pointed bevel on the hypodermic needle back through the piercing, that it just didn't work. I had one of those aha moments, and all I did was take the needles back to my jeweler's bench, cut the syringe coupling off, filed off the little burrs. Then I could do the piercing and follow the needle through with the jewelry. And that's become pretty much the standard procedure to this day for doing piercing and inserting jewelry.
My name is Paul Stoll. I am the owner of Body Manipulations here in San Francisco.
Well, most people ask, how did I get into this in the very beginning? This is what I did in high school instead of doing drugs, I guess. It's one of those things, you know, you try to test your limits when you're growing up, see if you can get something done, and sooner or later, friends started bugging me, oh, can you do this to me, can you do that to me, and I was very resistant for a very long time, but eventually I gave in, and strangers were knocking on my door, handing me money. It all just started from there. Common scalpel is all I need. Follow the design. Superstars started getting pierced. It was, oh wow, that looks pretty, instead of, ooh, that looks painful. Hey, ouch. I don't think that the people that get cuts, brandings, piercings are necessarily after the pain. It'd be easy, you just slam your hand in the door repeatedly if that's what you're after. I think that it is a common misconception on how much this stuff hurts. I mean, everybody's really nervous, very scared, and they're sitting in this chair, they're thinking, ooh, fucker! They're coming at somebody, you know you're gonna hurt them. Yeah, you get a little butterfly yourself, but you push through and you calm yourself down and you do it.
Ah, that was a bastard.
A lot of the financial women, suit-wearing type, a lot of those girls come in to get their hoods pierced. I think it's great to have it out there, put gemstones on them. It gives them a little treat for their usually boring home life, or whatever it is. I'm unsure, but it's great that it's so common. Heats the whole room up. You know, the person that's getting it done to them is having a blast with it. It's exciting. It's a bit of a turn on. That'll be nice. Good. It's not for everybody.
I think tattoos are addictive to a certain degree because I think, this is my theory, it takes 5 years for someone to figure out their first tattoo. It takes them 5 minutes to figure out their second.
I am not addicted to body modification. I have a plan. I have a goal. I see a beautiful picture that I'm going to be painting that's going to be completed later in life, and this is one of the canvases. So no, I'm not addicted to it. It's something that I want to do.
It's addicting. You always want to outdo the last one and something even better. And there's some people that I've seen, you know, on TV and things, actually every single inch of their bodies are covered with tattoos. Where they go from there?
I think body modification is definitely addictive. Look at me. Can't stop. I'm already trying to think about what I'm going to do when I run out of skin.
I wouldn't call it an addiction because if I stop getting tattooed, I'm not going to go into convulsions, and I can stop right now if I choose. It's more of I think you learn to enjoy the modification rather than need the modification. I wouldn't call it an addiction.
I find body modification addicting. Yeah, the 3D mods. I can never have. They're never big enough for me.
Some people come in and want a little plastic surgery done, something very simple to kind of test the waters, put their big toe and see how cold or how warm the water is. And they usually find out that it's not as scary as they thought, and they progress to other things. That's not an addiction. What's happened is they've released themselves from fear. They say, hey, this isn't as bad as I thought. Let me go to where I really want to go. Is that addictive? I don't think so. I think it's self-actualization is what it is.
Body modification is addicting because you're getting the natural endorphins kicking in, and it's just, it's an absolutely incredible feeling.
Screw addictive, it's rewarding. And anything that's rewarding is something you'll want to do again.
When one realizes that they have the power to change themselves, that they've been empowered with the ability to change themselves, how can that not be addictive?
I think a lot of it's about the experience of the body modification. People, it's like a new experience and an exciting experience. So anything that's like that can be addictive.
I think body modification would definitely be addictive in whatever body modification you choose to do, because it's something that you first try. Maybe you're scared to try it at first, and then you do it, and then you find out the enjoyment you get from it, and then you want to do it again. It's almost kind of like a drug, I guess, in a way, where you must get some type of high from it. You know, I know I get a high from bodybuilding.
I don't know as to addictive. The thing is, myself and a lot of people out there start out going like, oh, I'm not going to be able to find anybody who can do whatever I need to do. And as they find that there are people out there like Steve who can do various things, it just opens the door to where they can continue doing what they really want to do.
I wouldn't think of it as an addiction. I know I was addicted to cigarettes. After 40 years, I finally kicked that, so I have an idea what that's about. And I have had friends and people around me and loved ones who are addicted to one thing or another. So I understand. I know what the nature of addiction is about, but I don't think that what I've been doing is addicted necessarily. If I'm addicted to anything, it's enlightenment. I'm Fakir Mushafar, a name which I took back in the 1970s. I help facilitate all kinds of rituals where people have a learning experience. Fakir is a word that comes from the Middle East and from India. It's a kind of another word that you would use for medicine man or a shaman. It's a person who can deal with the physical and the non-seen, the seen and the unseen worlds. I've always admired Fakir Mushafar, who was a 12th century mystic Sufi who went around for 18 years, supposedly, with daggers and permanent piercings in his chest and back, big permanent piercings with weights and horseshoes and stuff hung from them. And his message was, if you want to get nearer to God, get pierced. I was raised in a farming community on an Indian reservation in South Dakota. I was not quite the ordinary little boy out there. I was a little different than the others. I started at an early age piercing my body with needles and pins, and at an early age hooking those up to cords and pulling on them. My mother used spring-type clothespins. She had a huge bag of them. So in private, in secret, I took those and started to clamp them onto my skin. And I got a kick out of this. It gave me an endorphin rush. I didn't know what it was at the time, but that's what it was. I was the first person, as far as I know, Europe, Canada, United States, that had a big blackwork symbolic tattoo. People come and ask me, fuck you, I want a tattoo, what should I have? I says, I don't have a clue. You go have a vision. You sit in a hole for 3 days, and if you see something, that's what you need. I mean, you know, it should be something that comes to you. It's not just something you pick off the wall in a tattoo studio. That has little or no meaning. Anything I've done as a body modification or has been part of a body ritual was done for a purpose. Put myself in a lot of constrictions, like a belt that was only about 18 inches around and stuff like this. The ball dance in South India, where for centuries, when they have their parades or their rituals or they want to do a body ritual, they hook or pierce the skin and sew on or hook on objects. We got these metal balls. I put little hooks on them, and we started to sew those all over the chest and torso and the back and the arms and the legs and so forth. The kavati of the Hindus, this large framework that you wear with the arches. 50 to 100 long rods, 4 or 5 feet long steel rods that come down and pierce into your chest and back. And as you dance and do contra motions, the more you move, the more these rods shake, jiggle, and rattle, and the more they dig into you, the deeper they go. There is no such thing as pain. There's only intense physical sensation. Time is only connected to you when you live in your body. And you don't have to live in your body. You can walk away from it at times and come back. Neat. The heaviest thing I've done, which nobody has, as far as I know, has been able to do, and I've done it 5 or 6 times, is a suspension by 2 piercings in my chest. There's a lot of things in our culture that are being accepted. We have the kick and scream people on the other side who will do anything at any cost to try to stop us from being who we are and exercising our, quote, God-given, unquote, right. The powers that be hate this. They do anything to crush it. Stop it. Put these people in prison. Boom, boom, boom. Do anything you can to anybody.